Hit it. Welcome. I'm Charlie Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk. Talk about two things you're never supposed to talk about: religion and politics, especially this election year. Huh. That can get you deleted and canceled and censored and doxxed, all kinds of stuff. But you know what? Bring it. Bring it. I'm not going to stop talking about these things because I love the state where I was born, California. I love the country in which I was born, the United States of America. I consider it an honor and a privilege that many are fighting and dying to try and get into the U.S. And unfortunately now, under that horrific, worst thing that's ever occupied the White House, opening up the borders to anyone and everyone has created just disastrous results, especially for the state of California. $80 billion in debt now. And that's what the government's telling us. And imagine it's probably much more. And this clown that some of you call the governor, I call Governor Hairdo, is trying to give $150,000 loans to anyone who's here illegally. Wow. They're already getting all the free medical, all the education, got their little EBT cards and their little card they got from FEMA. It's got like, what, $5,000 on it, something stupid like that. Come on in. And I've shown you video of people who have done exactly that. Come on in, even though it's illegal. But imagine this. If you know you're not supposed to be in there, but yet there's law enforcement saying, come on in. No, come on in. We moved the barriers, doors are open, come on in. And you come on in, and then they turn right around and arrest you for trespassing or for inciting a riot or something. I'm talking about January 6th. But now on the southern and northern border, we have law enforcement, even though it's against the law to come in illegally and not go through the right channels, come on in. Are they being arrested? No, they're not even forced to get a COVID test. No, in fact, they're being rewarded tremendously, financially rewarded. And if you drag a kid across with you, a kid or two, you're now getting Social Security, of which I paid into my entire life, benefits per child by thousands of dollars a month. Not even your kid. Cartel's telling you, take these two kids across with you. Then once you get over the border and you go through all that, we'll come get them because we have other plans for them. But you'll keep getting the free money because you're going to claim them as your kid. Won't they DNA test? Won't they want to make sure that this is my child? Nah, nobody's doing that. In the meantime, go over and see this Catholic non-governmental organization who's going to give you everything you need, including legal advice and protection. For free. For breaking the law. I'm supposed to take your concern about January 6th and how they broke, they were trying to bring down our democracy. That's funny. An insurrection normally involves weapons. They didn't have any weapons. There were weapons being used against them, though, including that woman who got shot right in the face by a Capitol police officer. Ashley Babbitt was murdered. Murdered. What happened to that piece of crap who shot her? Nothing. I'm livid over who's running my state, over who's running my country. I'm livid. But I have faith in Christ Jesus. He is my Lord and Savior. Jesus is my Savior. Trump is my president. I have a great guest today, and this is the second time on Do Not Talk. His name is Leo Naranjo. He's running for governor. Governor of the state of California. Who is he? Never heard of him. Exactly. Media's not talking about him. The California Republican Party is not talking about him. As a matter of fact, they're telling him, why don't you sit down and shut up? And we'll tell you when it's okay to talk. I've seen the emails. I'm done with my own political party, too. I'll stay a Republican, but I'll also stay in the fight to get rid of these rhinos and these horrific things that are in positions of power, that my own fellow Californians are putting in those positions of power, by the way. How do you wake them up? I don't know. I'm not trying to wake up the sheep anymore. I'm trying to wake up the other lions. And that's what Leo Naranjo is. He's a lion. And I want you to meet him here on Do Not Talk. Hello, buddy boy. Front and center. Come on in. What's going on?
Good afternoon, Mr. Simons. How are you and all of your listeners? Thank you again for having me on your
Mhm.
show a second time. I'm deeply humbled by the experience.
I'm not hearing you.
Uh-oh. I think our show went out again.
Shoot. All that buildup, buddy. Do we have technical problems? Dag nabbit.
Not muted.
While you're working on that, hey, what happened? We just heard you. You were just working before we went on the air.
Okay.
Say it. What?
Do you have me there?
Yes. There you
You
are.
got me.
You're blanking out, though.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
There we go. Thank you and good afternoon, Mr. Simons. To all your listeners, again, for the second opportunity to come on your show. I'm greatly appreciative of it, and I'm humbled by the experience.
Well, that's a nice response. I appreciate that very much. And that's a great attitude. I'm looking for more of that who want to be public servants. The fact that they're humbly wanting to serve. I don't see a lot of that. I see a lot of arrogance. I see a lot of lying. I see a lot of narcissists. That's what I see. I mean,
I
the
see a
whole
lot of
dang
folks.
party running the state are full of narcissists and attorneys, aren't they?
Yeah, I see a lot of folks that are positioning themselves. They're making events out of pretty much they're making mountains out of molehill events. They're saying whatever they can, whatever they need to say to the public because in this state we have gotten so used to being conned, to being BS, gaslighting as they call it nowadays. And today I'm going to make a stance, but as soon as I get in office, I forget everything I said, and that's really upsetting. The basis of my campaign right now is to have an open and honest discussion, and some people are a little bit afraid of open and honest. And that's the difference that I'm making as a candidate right now is I'm willing to be open and honest and to go forward with the cause to let folks know, hey, this is what's going on in this state. This is what's happening. These are the opportunities and the chances that you have to make a difference by voting. Folks don't know who I am for the moment. We're going to try and change that within the course of time. But just like you yourself as a voter and everybody else there that's out there listening and the people who may or may not yet have been tuned into, all of us are nobodies until the day before an election when we become kings and queens to those running for office. And the day that the election is held is probably the most important time frame that you will ever be known by anybody in this state. 24 hours later, however, you once again go into the big void of whoever you are, you're not mine, you're not on my level, go away, pay the tax, and I'm done with you. And that's how our establishment has operated for a long time. That's how the politicians in this state have treated us. You go back and listen to the young lady in the legislature that basically told the business community, if you don't like it, kick rocks and go get bent. And that's just not acceptable. I've never accepted that premise. I was shocked that when she put it out there and said it, and quite frankly, I was kind of disgusted with it. But that's where we're at today.
You, excuse me. You have been great with writing letters lately, and thank you for sending some of them to me. Tell me about them. You're writing these CEOs of these huge corporations 170 years. Chevron's or something crazy like that. In California, Chevron's been here. Now they've left. They went to Texas. And you wrote the CEO. You found out how to get hold of him. You're like, dude, first, I get it. Don't blame you. Can you reconsider though? And I'm like, why? You're not even governor, and you're writing letters like this to these big corporations who are leaving.
I one of our last reports a few months ago, it came out over the news. I'm on my way to work, and 147. I want people to understand this. 147 years, Chevron has been part of this community. They've been part of the state, and they've been part of the state history. 147 years is getting ready to be dissolved because of the shenanigans of one man who's
Yep.
operating in a state as a governor with presidential aspirations to punish the oil industry. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about me. He's not worried about the impacts to this state, much less to other states, on how he wants to push his Go Green agenda. And I took it upon myself to write the gentleman, Mr. Michael Wirsch, a letter, the CEO of Chevron. And I asked him, I'm not here to be beholden to you. I want to make that very clear. I'm not begging you to be beholden to you. I'm asking you to reconsider a 147-year business arrangement that you've had with this state, that before you leave, give me an hour of time, 1 hour of time, to try and convince you that this is not what needs to happen. You don't need to leave California. There are people that are willing to work for you. And I understand in December that move is going to be finalized, and we're going to lose a major employer to this state. Now, most recently, with the latest legislation laws that they're getting ready to pass, where they now have to make oil companies store oil again. I've written out letters to Chevron. I've personally written letters to the governor of Arizona and New Mexico, letting them know you need to step in and take this to the federal level to block this attempt. And if you don't, I will if elected for governor, because this is ludicrous and nonsense what this man is causing and doing to not only our state, but our neighboring states in this half of the country.
Would this have something to do with the fact that the worst president that's ever served this United States of America has almost depleted our oil reserves nationally?
On a national level, it probably does have something. I think on a more local level, however, this is part of Governor Newsom's plan to turn this state into a 100% go green, no oil environment. He wants to turn this state into a 100% look at us, we're now socialists. We have a socialist state, and this is how a socialist government can work if given the opportunity. At every chance, he said this in the beginning, he said this during his time frame. He uses the catchphrases of pluralisms and social contract. He uses all the flowery phrases that are associated with socialism, i.e., communism. And that's where he's taking us and moving us. What he doesn't tell you, however, to keep the lights on, he's going to go ahead and allow a few oil companies to remain at his beck and call. But it's not for our purposes. It's so that you and I, the public, don't get into an uproar because we have no lights of his go green policies failing.
The next step is, and they're already not allowing new gas stations. I mean, it's become very difficult to start up a gas station, a gasoline pumping system. There aren't new ones going in. This is insane. But at the same time, to show you what a piece of crap, total partisan that thing is that's currently running the state. And I don't blame the politicians anymore, Leo. I blame the people who are putting them in those positions. I blame my own fellow Californians. I really do.
It
So Governor Hairdo is not only is Chevron leaving the state, but yeah, and because he hates oil, he's already said by 2035 no gasoline powered vehicles are going to allow to be sold in our state. Then Elon Musk, the guy who started up Tesla, very successful electric vehicle company, which is all they deal in, is leaving the state as well. Going to Texas as well, same as Chevron. So did Gavin Newsom, did Governor Hairdo say, "Oh, wait, you're green. We want you. We're going to make it as easy as possible for you to stay. We want you to stay." That's what he would have done until Elon Musk said, "You know what? I'm tired of what the Democrats are doing. I think I'm going to give the other side a try." All of a sudden, get out. Get out, Elon. We don't want you in California. The hypocrisy is stunning. This is a partisan piece of crap. You're right. All the Governor Hairdo is interested in is making this a socialist state, and you're absolutely right. This is going to be, as Nancy Pelosi has said, as Joe Biden said, this is going to be the model for the United States of America here in California.
Right, and
They're showing us exactly what they want and what they're going to do.
Mr. Musk is another one of the many CEOs, Fortune 500 companies that if you listen to Governor Newsom's State of the State address he put out in June, these are the people that he declared want to be in California. These are part of the top 500 Fortune 500 companies that are here in this state. And if I can, I did a rebuttal to his State of the State address, and I've posted it on YouTube. I encourage everybody to go look at that and to see. You posted a video on people that you say are here in California. My rebuttal says exactly the opposite. They might have started here, but congratulations, sir, you're driving them out as fast as you're identifying them. Elon Musk, I've also written to, and again, I've asked him for the same challenge.
You
Please
did, yeah.
not
Did
throw
you hear
away.
back from them, by the way? Or have any of these people gotten back to you that you've written?
I don't believe so, sir. I think there's a lot of skepticism. I think because I'm not a rich, famous, or wealthy, influential individual, that I'm going to get much response, much less from the governors of the other states. The
But
Chevron,
you're writing them. You're actually
I'm telling them
contacting
this.
them. You're
Yes, I'm
actually reaching
writing.
out.
If no one else dares to, I am. I'm willing to
I
have
know.
that conversation with you to keep you in this state for the betterment of California. This is not just a personal mission that I'm going to try and look for a job. There are people that are impacted by these losses. Chevron, some of my friends have already told me it's going to get to the point where the oil industry can just in total leave. And then what? We've lost jobs. We've lost the opportunity to produce our own gas and our own power. What happens if they say, I'm done, and they walk away from California? There's no recourse to bring them back. There's no need for them to come back. And
He doesn't care.
my attempts to talk to
Newsom
these
does not
folks,
care.
no, he does
Newsom
not.
wants them out, doesn't want any gasoline produced in this state.
Exactly. 100% right.
That's why there's no new refineries going in either. Um, anytime this is such a crucial election. This coming up November 5th. Now, this is not the gubernatorial election. Leo's not going to be on the ballot. That's not for another 2 years, right?
2 year 2026.
Imagine the damage that vampire is going to be able to do in just 2 years.
And
Anyway,
our last discussion, sir, if I may, we talked about my personal view on Mr. Newsom was he's acting like a child that's done with California. Now we have Kamala Harris that's running for president, and he's been sidelined. So what Mr. Newsom, to me, to my opinion, is trying to do is he's trying to position himself for the 2028 presidential run. He's now becoming centrist. He's now becoming tough on crime. He's now looking at things to make slight alterations to let people believe he cares. This man does not care. He's done with this state. We have 2 years to endure the damage that he's going to cause with the support of the legislature that we have currently in charge. And what we as Californians have to do is take a deep, long, hard look at ourselves. And yes, that means Republicans and Democrats, and decide and determine, is this where we want our state to go, down the path of socialism, down the path of communism, or do we want to have something different? Do we want our children to be able to play in the parks, or are we going to be okay and accepting the fact that the homeless population has taken them over and we can no longer go out and enjoy our own communities? That's the choice that we're going to be faced with 2 years from now.
yeah, you're absolutely right. There is never been a more important election in our lifetimes than this coming November 5th. President Trump, and he is still my president, allegedly, supposedly, I haven't seen all the reports on it yet, but down in Coachella. Actually came to California. Doesn't need California. California can't help him. There was no reason for him to take a day, 2, 3 days, and all that expense of coming and doing one more rally in the state of California. Didn't benefit him at all. But there's so many of us who have just been, I mean, hardcore patriots and have been campaigning for him because we saw what he did for the 4 years that he was president, and we want that back. And he's the only thing standing between us and take over the New World Order. I'm quite convinced of that. and keeping governors like Newsom in control somewhat, as much as he can as president on a federal level. But this is a such a crucial election, and he came here to Coachella, right?
Yes.
And do you know what happened with that? Well, Sheriff Chad Bianco. What was the deal with him, with Riverside, San Bernardino County Sheriff?
For those that aren't aware, Mr. Chad Bianco is the Riverside Sheriff in Southern California that is thinking about running for governorship in 2026. Now, the news media down south or anywhere below Sacramento, California, is greatly praising the man, greatly praising his law enforcement abilities, his time, his outspokenness in the way that he makes various stances and declarations. Anybody up north of Sacramento, however, has no idea who he is because they're looking for Mr. Steve Hilton, another potential Republican candidate. I want to just be kind of frank. Mr. Chad Bianco is thinking of running for governor in 2026. The problem Mr. Bianco has is his term as sheriff doesn't end until 2028. Now, unfortunately for Mr. Bianco, I've made attempts to reach out to him personally, numerous attempts. Any day, any time, on any topic, I would love to have a debate and an open conversation with you. Two Republicans giving their ideas on what directions that we want to go into this state. The long and short of my letter said we both have the same desires to see California become great and to bring it out of the doles that it's in right now. We just have different opinions on how we're going to get there. My opinion is to move forward, to be open and honest. Mr. Bianco, I can't speak for what his opinions are or what it is that he wants. What I have heard, however, is some very troubling news from my own party. And that one of the items being that he is the selected elite member that they want to be our Republican candidate. Mr. Bianco, as I was reading the news last night, has come out and made a declaration that he and his deputies have thwarted the third assassination attempt against President Trump by intercepting an individual with various weapons and various IDs and everything else. And I personally applaud the deputies for what they did. That is their job. And I want to be very crystal clear on this aspect for the sheriff deputies. I'm not besmirching what you did. Congratulations. That's what you were supposed to have done. What I am, however, doing is taking Mr. Bianco to task. You are grandstanding, sir, because there was no proof, evidence whatsoever that is what this man was trying to do. You gave an account that he was an assassin, but then you only charged him with 2 misdemeanor weapon charges and released him on $5,000 bail the very same day he was arrested. The federal authorities aren't picking up this case. Nobody's touching it other than you and the grandstanding news media circus you created yesterday to make the declaration. And shame on you, sir, for besmirching the efforts of your deputies for your own personal goals to make yourself look good in 2026. And if there's anybody that has any misunderstanding of where I am on this aspect, let me be crystal clear. Mr. Bianco is the favored of the elites of down south. In a chess player match, this is what I would probably tell my opponent. You're done. Who's next?
I got a video I want to watch with you, and we'll talk about that with Bianco. But what did the deputies do that was supposedly controversial with this gentleman who showed up with some guns and ammo and stuff?
The initial reports that I've seen on the news, and there's like 7 different reports, not surprising, they all seem to mimic the same wording, almost verbatim. They intercepted an individual, it seems, according to the news, trying to pass a checkpoint. He had questionable license plates on his vehicle. They made a stop. They made a search of the vehicle. They found weapons, a shotgun, high-capacity magazines for a semi-automatic pistol, and that was it. Various forms of ID, looks like false identifications.
Listen to what the media does. First of all, the whole high capacity magazine thing. Anybody who's actually into guns like I am, that just means the magazine from the manufacturer when the gun was built before California state made it against the law to have anything that carries more than 10 rounds.
Correct.
You could have the original magazine for that gun in there, and they'll call it high capacity because it sounds scary. And they'll go do like a cache of ammo. He had 100 rounds.
Well,
Listen, son, that's just getting started. That 100 rounds is nothing, but they make it sound so huge, and people who don't know and they mislabel guns all the time.
Mr.
Um,
Simons, if I mean we're all intelligent, and I'm pretty sure that your viewers are highly intelligent as well. I would like you to just look and bear out the facts. If
right.
you, as a sheriff of a county, have arrested and foiled an attempt on the president or an ex-president's life, what in the world are you doing releasing him the same day on $5,000 bond? Why in the world would you charge him with only 2 misdemeanor weapons charges and expect him to return to court the next business day? If this man had been truly an assassin, truly a threat, and truly armed to carry out such an intentful purpose, he would still be locked away
Of
until
course.
the feds could determine the
Of
actual
course.
threat that was posed. This man is
Absolutely.
not being held. The
You're right.
feds aren't even looking at it, but we're
It's
still
embarrassing.
investigating.
And they call it
The only thing
questionable weapons charges. Could be the fact that one of them he has a concealed carry permit and it's on the permit, and the other one isn't on his permit. Oh, that's some kind of big, huge faux pas in California.
I think
This
Mr. Bianco is going to be lucky if this gentleman, when everything is all said and done, doesn't turn around and slap him with the multi-million-dollar defamation of character and slander charge, which I
there it is.
believe will be coming after everything is panned out. But this was my
Do you
first
know
inning
who won't cover
was
that? Do you know who will not cover that though when that happens?
the media.
Exactly.
The media. This story will disappear shortly in time as time progresses. We're probably not
Mhm.
going to hear too much more about him once this pans out to be the farce that it is. And again, to be crystal clear, the deputies did their job. They stopped a suspect in a suspect vehicle under suspect's conditions. They did what they were trained and supposed to do, and I applaud them for that. No question whatsoever. But the sheriff, the person who leads you, the person in charge of you, has embarrassed himself and the department by fabricating charges that weren't there. And it'll pan out. I don't need to be a law expert to understand you had no reasonable reason to make that claim given the circumstances of how you released a supposed threat to the president.
Steve Hilton, I've heard speak several times. I've invited him to be on the show. He has said yes every time and then never gotten back to me. I like him, though. I used to watch him on Fox. He was on Sunday nights. Um, Originally from England, now living here legally, and just a great mind, and I think a good heart, and definitely he is who he says he is. I believe that as a
Yeah.
conservative. Um, Making noise about running for governor of the state of California, since he lives here now. He's actually lives in the Bay Area, I understand. Chad Bianco down in SoCal there, also making noise about running for governor. And as you said, up here in NorCal, we folks don't really even know who he is. Well, just to remind you, this was 4 years ago. Fox 11 in Los Angeles did this story on Sheriff Chad Bianco.
You know, it was a make or break moment. Perhaps you saw it live on television. It was moving. Protesters in Riverside faced with sheriff's deputies and city police. And that's when Sheriff Chad Bianco
Well,
takes the
dagnabbit.
knee in solidarity.
I don't know why we're not hearing the sound. That's a shame. Because
With
this is a good one. Oh well, shoot. Sorry about that. My apologies. I don't know. We're having some technical. I'm not at home. I'll tell you that. I'm on vacation. Actually, I've been up here in Idaho for about a week and a half now, and I'm really loving it. And no, I'm not moving up here. At least not yet. And Leo, if you become governor, I'll stay. But
Thank you very much.
Let me try this again, please.
protesters.
The unfortunate part of this is everybody. This is a huge divide. There's no working here. Voices.
I can't figure that out.
It's just
I
a big,
don't know
huge
why it's
divide.
not working.
And the leaders of
But we
this
do see the
have to
video
work
here,
with us
so
to make a difference.
let's you and I talk about that. Here we go. Here's
The Riverside Sheriff tells our Haley Winslow.
this is Sheriff Chad Bianco, San Bernardino, Riverside. first on his knee, and then somebody comes up from it was one of the BLM organizers. I really wish the sound would work on this. Let me work on. You know what? We got to be able to hear this because of what happened later on that night
Right.
after Chad Boy here took a knee to bowing down to. I can't believe when all that was happening and how many people are actually doing it. I was stunned by that. Taking white people, of course, only white people, and you have to take a knee to BLM, to the power of Black Lives Matter. And what happened afterward? We got to be able to see this, buddy. Let me see if I can do a screen share. And my apologies to all who are watching live right now. I sure do appreciate your patience, though. Please give me a moment because this is important for us to see.
If it's any help, I can actually hear your video.
Oh, you could hear it?
Yes,
I
sir.
just. That's a huge help. Thank you. I don't understand why I'm not hearing it, though. It must be obviously something on my end, I guess. I'm on Wi-Fi, and again, I'm not at home, and so maybe the signal isn't strong enough to put audio out. So,
Right.
Okay. Well, with that information,
Have to work with us to make a difference.
are you hearing it right now?
Yes.
So this whole time we're live, and I'm saying, I'm sorry, I don't know why we can't hear it. You're all going, we can hear it, stupid. All right. With that in mind, I'll fix this later when I edit. But let me roll this, and I want you to see the whole thing because in the beginning, this Fox News reporter, and I did not go with the one from ABC Channel 7 who did a similar story because they're freaking leftists and they're owned by Disney. They're all on board. This was a Fox reporter who asked some pretty good questions, I think, and made him really look like the idiot I believe he is. And I have family who worked for the sheriff's department, San Bernardino, Riverside. She retired a few years ago and moved to Arizona. She's one of those that took her big pension and got it out of California that you and I were talking about earlier. She's
Sure.
one of those. And Governor Hairdo is trying to think of a way to tax them for leaving the state.
Exactly.
Which, how do you get away with that legally? That's a good trick. So anyway, let's watch this right now. This is from Channel 11 down in Los Angeles. It was 4 years ago during the BLM riots.
You know, it was a make or break moment. Perhaps you saw it live on television. It was moving. Protesters in Riverside face to face with sheriff deputies and city police. And that's when Sheriff Chad Bianco takes the knee in solidarity with protesters.
The unfortunate part of this is this is a huge divide. There's no working to hear voices be heard. It's just a big, huge divide. And the leaders of this have to work with us to make a difference.
The Riverside Sheriff tells our Haley Winslow why he dropped to a knee with the protesters in downtown Riverside live on Fox 11. Protesters called this moment huge. One organizer says it didn't matter that only the sheriff and a few deputies near him took a knee. They called it a starting point. Sheriff Chad Bianco joins us this morning to talk about that moment. What made you, good morning to you, Sheriff, what made you at that moment decide that this is what needs to be done?
Good morning, Alex. Yeah, I don't know if there was something that made me decide. It was just we were there in the moment. There was probably 5,000 people behind us right there, and the conversations that we were having leading up to that, it was just the right thing to do. I think across the board, all law enforcement leaders, all law enforcement, the majority of the people that were there at that protest, we can all stand shoulder to shoulder and agree that what happened is wrong. We can mourn for his death. We have to get past where we are, this big, huge divide where it's just an us against them, and it's a we that has to move forward.
And the response from those who witnessed what you did, the demonstrators, how did that make you feel?
It was good. Well, I mean, we all felt good. The men and women that were around me right there, the deputies that were behind me, it was a good moment. It did feel good, and we were all there for the same thing. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. But in that moment, there
we all sang Kumbaya.
Now, things were peaceful for about an hour and a half following that, and then when curfew started to be implemented, things did get a little rowdy. Were you disappointed when that happened? Did you think your action would have made everything be peaceful last night, and that wasn't necessarily the case?
I don't know if I thought that. It was obviously a good moment through that 2-hour time period of the peaceful protest. I walked up and down that line while protesters were laughing and shaking hands and talking with deputies back and forth, and it was a good thing. So we can all stand side by side and say that we all agree on the concept of this protest. But then toward the end, it was very apparent that that's not how it was going to end. You can see the backpacks start coming off. You can see the weapons start coming out of the backpacks. Masks start going on, and then bottles and rocks start being thrown. And then, unfortunately, it's no longer a peaceful protest, and we have to make sure that we protect ourselves, we protect our residents downtown, and our businesses. So, unfortunately, it didn't end peaceful. I can't say that obviously, I will say that I hoped that it would have, but we prepared for it to not.
What are you anticipating today, and how are you preparing for today?
We're monitoring social media. We're trying to figure out if any more protests are planned. We will respond accordingly, and hopefully we can handle it the same way as we did yesterday. Our primary concern is the safety of our residents, the safety of the protesters that were obviously there for the right reason. We could see the difference in the crowd of the ones that were being violent and the ones that were not. So number one, our mission is to make sure that everybody goes home safe every night, and these end as peaceful as possible.
All right, Sheriff Bianco, I know you're extremely busy. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning to chat with us.
Thank you, Roxia. These end as peaceful as possible.
You goofball. You were elected. That's the worst part about people not paying attention to those who are running for sheriff. He looks good. He sounds good. He's wearing a cowboy hat. Okay, I'm voting for him. You know nothing about him. You know nothing about his politics or his integrity. You just like how he looks or how he sounded. And that's awful, because that, as far as I'm concerned, is the absolute last line of defense, is a constitutional sheriff protecting your county from whatever the feds or the state does. That is your last line of defense. And this clown went right in there, embarrassed his department. Did you see all the other deputies all taking a knee before him? He took a knee before and after, apparently. I love that one point where he's going up to one of the organizers, one of the loudmouths with a megaphone, acting like he's going to hug him. And then the guy just like, no, get down on your knee. And what did he do? He goes, oh, okay. And he got down on the knee. For what reason? What did that accomplish? Your city burned that night, goofball. Your city burned that night. You knew that this was going on all over the country. Why did you think you were going to be any different? Oh, because you like them? Did you bring in James Taylor to sing You've Got a Friend like John Kerry did? Why didn't you do something like that? Hey, here's our friends Fleetwood Mac, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's not their crowd, but that's okay. At least you made the effort. You tried to reach across the aisle. That's what I'm sick of, Leo. And that's why I like guys like you, and I'm supporting people like you who are running for office. You want to lose me as a supporter and you want to make sure I don't vote for you? Here's the words you have to say. I'm going to work to reach across the aisle. They're not interested. They hate you. They hate everything you stand for. It is time for absolute strength. But yet we have a Republican Party that doesn't seem to be interested in backing people like that. As a parent, how they've treated Eric Early is a fine example. This is insane. Strong man would have been a great, and the two different things that he ran for would have been extraordinary. No, the Republican Party never got behind him, not interested in even supporting him. Are they going to be interested in supporting you, Leo, when you got like a superstar like Steve Hilton because he had one show a week on Fox News and then got fired? Or Sheriff Chad Bianco, who took a knee, but we like how he looks and what he says and he presents himself well? How do you fight against that, Leo?
That is one of the difficult questions I face, and I guess to give a very, very short answer on that, I'm here. I'm here taking that fight. I'm here knowing there are a million things, a million people, millions of dollars that are stacked against me, not just from my Republican Party members, but also from the Democrat Party members, from those that are interested in seeing California stay a loser state, for those that are seeing California stay a dysfunctional state so long as they get paid. All of these things are standing in my way, but yet I am here today making the claim that I'm going to be in it in the long haul. The folks in my own party right now have moved off of, you can't win, you need to go away, nobody knows you, run for mayor, call it a day, and we'll let you know when you can come out and play. Now we've moved into, well, you're too conservative and it's not going to work in California. This is a Democratic state. Well, which one is it? Well, you're going to go up against Chad Bianco. Yeah, I used to have a concern about that. I'm not concerned anymore. I've played chess a long time. That is an opponent that I probably wouldn't give two bats for. I've made the attempt to contact him. I've given the offer up to have an open and honest debate with the gentleman. Hey, that should have been an easy push for you. Walk over days to a nobody so that you can go ahead and show folks where you stand. There's your opportunity. But you declined. Matter of fact, you didn't even give me the courtesy to respond. Not even the, you know the word, give me the smooch on the cheek and go away. By you doing that, sir, you have basically told everybody in this state, unless you're my equal, you don't matter. I'm one person, but I guarantee you, folks, and that's not a word I use lightly, I guarantee you, the powers that be do not know who you are and they don't care. And if I'm being disrespected of that nature, imagine what you're going to be treated like. We already see that now. Parents that are getting sued by the state through their school districts because they dare to want to know what's going on with their children. And I made that in the State of the State rebuttal very clear. The man that professes to care about women, the man that professes to care about reproductive rights on women, the man who states he champions women is the same man who will sue you if you try as a woman to know what's going on in your child's school if you are trying to interfere with that indoctrination. That's what I'm fighting against. And I'm not afraid to take that on. It's like me trying to take on the first place position in a chess tournament. I've gone from the bottom straight to the top. I've made movements towards being number one in practically everything I've ever handled, touched, or been assigned. I have led many, many times. I've had people who could not stand me who at the end of the year professed to the bosses they would rather work for me than their supervisor. I might have been mean, but I was fair, open, and honest. And that's what my campaign is about, fair, open, and honest. And we have to have a change in this state. We can't keep going like this where people are abandoning boat, they're leaving. Folks are telling me on the news media as I reach out to them, it's too early. It's too early. We're not going to discuss this right now. But yet you just had, less than 2 weeks ago, a 5-person forum of debating candidates on the Democratic Party. What do you mean it's too early? You're lining them up so that they can know what part of California's pie they're going to take over. You had, as a union work group, given them a platform to debate and show who they are. I'm asking for no less, but nobody wants to take this up. Mr. Hilton, God bless him, I'm glad he's in the race. And I've offered a challenge for him as well. Anytime, any place, on any topic. I would love to sit down and discuss where you sit. But I want to also make that very clear. For those that think that Mr. Hilton is a wonderful individual, for those that think he's the savior of California, Del Moore, he's not. He's a Silicon Valley person. He's a British patriot now, an American citizen. He's got dual citizenship. He has a lot of background in Europe. And when you start to read what he has, there needs to be some consternations about what he's proposing to build cities in California, to have them mimic 18th century European roundabout circles, to have landowners own the land while everybody else pays rent. Something is wrong with that if you think the Silicon Valley man, the same people who are trying to enforce the city around Travis Air Force Base, are worried about your needs and my needs. They're not. He is not the only one in this race. He's the favored for everybody north of Sacramento. He's not the blessed one
And
because
it's
everybody
pure
south.
celebrity status is all it is, which is an embarrassment to me. California is polluted with that. Thank God Ronald Reagan was a extraordinary choice. But after that, I see lineup after lineup after lineup of celebrities who have run for different offices and have turned out to be dismal failures. Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's just one. We're enamored with any kind of celebrity status. Oh, he's been
Yep.
on television. Well, we need him to be governor.
Yep. I've already been told that when the November elections have passed, when people are going to start focusing into the future, when we start to have the discussion of who's going to be running, Leo, you're going to be faced with a horde of other Republicans racing to the front door to be a governor candidate. Yeah, I probably am, and they'll bar their way past me, and they'll push their way past me, and they'll buy their way past me, and everything else. But the public is going to know exactly who they are. These are fly-by-night candidates. It's what the Republican pundits call the vanity candidates, the people who want their name in lights, that want their resumes to be enhanced. That's all that's going to be. It's the fluff. The ones that are actually running, who are actually meaning, who are actually determined, are going to be in your top ranks. They're going to be the ones that you can listen to and know, hey, that person isn't just talking, they're actually making sense. Mr. Hilton, I've been told he is determined to win. So am I. If that means we sit down and we have a good game of chess, we sit there and talk over a beer and crumpets, that's great. But I have a
Crumpets.
determination to win as well. And you are going to be an impediment to my movement, just as I am to yours. Mr. Bianco, I gave you the considerations to have that open and honest discussion. I've given you the respect as a potential candidate, as a fellow Republican, and basically you have shown you don't care because I don't matter. If I don't matter, neither do the other 30 million Californians here matter. California has a problem. They don't need somebody to figure it out on when they're going to jump in based upon whatever factors they're determining. The statements that you're making is it's about family. I think it's more than family. What you've just shown with this so-called I've stopped an assassination attempt makes me shudder to think, if you can fabricate facts at that level, what would you do to us if you were governor to the state? That's what makes me worried, and that's why I consider, and that's why I consider right now, to me, we're done with the chess table. You're no longer my opponent. You're old news. Mr. Hilton's now my opponent. The 5, now 6 Democrats running, they're my opponents. This isn't just blatant words coming off flowery conversations with an individual on a podcast. I'm dead serious. I'm running for the citizens of this state, regardless of who's standing in front of me. And the powers that be need to understand that. This is not a vanity candidate. This is a person that is tired of seeing their state dragged through the mud and led in the way that it's being led.
Me too. Me too. You have being in the media my entire life. Everything comes down to demographics. When you're talking about ratings, when you're talking about your target demographics and so on, it all comes down to it's just cut and dry. We speak very openly and honestly about people groups. There's the Hispanic. Which group are you targeting? Are you targeting the Black audience? Are you targeting what audience are you targeting? And we have very frank and open discussions, and it's never a racial thing. Never. You're talking demographics. Who are you targeting? What does people group here? What do they have to spend? It all comes down to money. And believe me, politics is the same way. And they know if you have certain surnames in certain areas of California, you're going to do well because you're going to have people who are like-minded or even the same race as you who will vote for you just because you have that name. That's the bottom line. That's how it is in politics and the media, which is, I think, why they're such close bedfellow. If you're on the left. Now, if your name Naranjo, Hispanic surname,
Yes, sir.
and that would be a tremendous benefit to you if you were on the left. But
If
we've
I,
seen how the left treats the people that they supposedly care for, the people of color, how they care so much. unless, of course, you're a conservative. Look what they've been doing to Justice Clarence Thomas. Look how they've been treating women, Black, Hispanic, Asian, men and women, how the left has been treating these people if they happen to be conservatives. So the fact that you're Hispanic and a Hispanic surname in the state of California, done, win-win. But it hasn't been that way for you, has it?
Well, you bring up an interesting topic, and I've had these
I
discussions
usually do.
with some fellow Republicans. And let me give you a slight window of what you're looking at when you see me on your channel. My name is Leopoldo Naranjo IV, and yes, I am Hispanic. And here is my ethnic breakdown. I'm Mexican, I'm Spaniard, I'm Hopi Indian, I'm British, I'm French, I'm Irish. If you ask anybody that worked for me in the military, if you asked anybody that worked with me in the county of Sacramento, they thought they were talking to an African American. I took the test to be an African American culture worker in Sacramento County. Not only did I take the test, pass the test, because of the answers I gave to the questions administered by two African American women, they stated they had to redo their testing. So yes, I can deal with it. I'm a World War II vet. I'm a Persian Gulf War vet. I'm a union member. I'm a union shop steward member, former. I'm a former governing board member of the union. I'm a former safety representative of the union, a former state worker, a former county worker. All of that encompasses a lot of questions of people when they start doing, well, do you fit this category? Do you fit that category? If I haven't touched it, I've been in it or I've been closely associated with it. As far as for women's rights, let me say this. For women's rights, in my first 3 months of being in the county of Sacramento as a brand new worker in the welfare system, a counterpart of mine in his first 3 months was almost assaulted by who we call clients, a member of the welfare community looking for benefits. But I didn't blame the person that tried to assault the coworker. The coworker belittled him, treated him down and less than worthy. In my first 3 months, when my reputation got out to the community, the representative of WEAVE, Women Escaping a Violent Environment, asked me to be their spokesperson. And at the time, while I was greatly humbled and I greatly appreciated the effort, that was not what I was called to do, what I felt I needed to do, and I respectfully declined that request. But that was in 3 months with a brand new worker. So yes, there are a lot of things I encompass. I speak a little bit of German, mostly enough to get me out of trouble. I speak Spanish, more so I understand Spanish because I've gotten rusty since my grandmother passed. And a little bit of French, mostly from George Carlin's teachings. But there's a lot that I have done. And so when people look at me in general, all they see is an elderly white guy that talks a lot of what they say is smack. And that's it. I'm not a very impressive individual. I'm not muscular like Arnold. I'm not rich like Elon Musk. I'm not articulate like Mr. Einstein. But I have common sense. I do things where people stand back and have to reassess what they're looking at. We thought this guy was nothing, and whoa, hold up, something's missing here. It's not what it appears. And so that's where I come from in some of my background. I'm not afraid to talk to any group, Hispanic, African American, Asian, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I know,
Everybody.
I know you're not. And the whole reason why I wanted to bring this up is the Republican Party of California, based on all those, you check off all these boxes I'm talking about. You check off all the boxes. This is a no-brainer. This is the guy we have to get behind. This is the guy we have to really promote. And we're just grateful that he wants to even be a part of our party. Yeah, we're going with Leo Naranjo. But that's not what they're doing. And that proves to everybody right there that it's all about money.
Money, political influence, fame,
And
how good
celebrity
you look,
status.
how well you sound, how great you walk, talk, and everything else like that. But Jesus Christ isn't running for office. Regular people are running for office. That's what the
Right.
party asks for folks to do, is run for office. Well, I've taken up the challenge that they've always told us. We want you to participate. Well, I'm participating. We want you to run for office. Well, I'm here to run for office. What I didn't expect was how, when somebody finally does step up, now the rhetoric has changed. No, we want you to run for water commission. We want you to run for school board or mayor or something else. We want you to support who we select as the person to run for the higher office. And
Exactly.
I'm looking at them like, how about you run with somebody that's looking to win, not just earn a paycheck to get you happy, but to help out this state. And that's why I'm running.
I think you're fantastic. I've become quite a fan. I'll tell you what, I'm in your corner. Where do we find you? Where do we follow you? How do we get involved? How do
You
we
can
help?
start to follow me right now on LinkedIn. At the moment, I'm immersed in my vacation that's upcoming. I'm going to be out of country for a couple of weeks. Pardon everybody if I seem aloof, if I don't give direct questions, if I don't have everything established. That's another thing that I am doing. I'm moving at the pace that I feel comfortable to move with, not what pundits are telling me to move at or by. When the time comes, I need people that I can trust to hold the titles that I'm getting ready to bestow on them. I'm looking for a team to help me go through the process and to get me to the door. Not to pass through the door, but to get me to the door. What I have to do as the individual candidate is to walk through it and convince others of why my cause is just, why I need to get their vote, and why they should support me financially. That's what I'm looking for. And it's a team that starts with trust. You have to trust me as the individual. And if you can't trust me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to win anything. And you sure as heck aren't going to part with your money to support me. If I can't earn your trust, I failed before I even start. And I'm trying to earn that trust. I want people to understand when I'm telling you what's going to transpire, how I'm going to move forward, what my vision is for this state. That's exactly what I'm planning on doing, and I'm going to try to do. I'm not here to make it sound good so that you can say, well, he's for my party. But then when I get in office, oh my God, that's not what he told us. Because those are the politicians that have promised and guaranteed. And look
I'm
where
sick.
that's gotten
I
us
don't
in the
want any
last
politics.
30 years.
I'm done with them. I'm done with them. I don't want them. I want business people running my state. I want business people running my country. I don't want politicians ruining it anymore because that's what they do. They're just mouths. They're just mouthpieces, and they're going to do whatever everyone else tells them, whatever's most expedient for them to get reelected. As they
Exactly.
get into office and start collecting their ridiculous paychecks and start doing their insider trading deals and so on and becoming multimillionaires like Nancy Pelosi, if they're not doing that, they're running for the next campaign. They're running. That's what they're doing. That's what politicians do. And I'm sick of it. I
If
want
I
business people. That's how the nation was built. That's how our United States, that's how the whole constitutional republic was designed, for business people, community people, citizens to step up, serve a term or two, and then go home. That's what you're supposed to do. You're representing your community. That's not what we have now, especially in the state of California, Leo. So, is there a website? How can we help?
You could go into LinkedIn right now and you can find me, and I will be working on updating that profile soon, probably after I come back. I'm looking for some folks, college bound folks, looking for intern folks, looking for people that want to start off to help me do up the websites. Hey, I'm an old school guy. I'm not up to all the current mainstream social media things to run, and I'm looking for that support. You can find me on LinkedIn under Leo Naranjo IV. Email me directly, Leo Naranjo IV at yahoo.com. Those are my 2 points. If I've officially contacted you, I've listed my personal phone number that you can also call me in. But
So,
down
look at
when I
how
get
he is
back from
spelled.
vacation, we're going to start working on those websites and those points of contact.
Okay,
Yes.
good. When you have it going, come back on again. Let's promote it. If you look
Not a
right
problem.
down below in there, how he's spelt his name there,
Uh-huh.
that is how you find him when he says Leo Naranjo the fourth. You don't write out the fourth. It's LeoNaranjoiv, Roman
At
numerals four,
yahoo.com. Yep.
at yahoo.com. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
write him. get involved. Go, yeah, I want to help. What can I do? So fantastic, my friend. Great having you on again. I sure wish you all the best.
I thank you very much for the opportunity, and I thank you and your listeners for putting up with my rants and for at least giving me that opportunity to talk. I'm still
Putting up
looking.
with your rant. I
Of course,
welcome your rant. That's what I wanted. As a matter of fact, most of the time I fear that I'm the one talking too much. I need to just shut up and
that's
let you
okay.
go.
I'm still lurking and working on getting an endorsement from you, and I know it's early, so patience is a virtue. And when I get it, I will be happy, and I will definitely be enthused and just beyond like, hey, if I can get Mr. Simons, then I'm pretty sure I can work on other folks. So my
All
personal,
right, you got it.
I'm
You
getting
got
you
it.
there.
Shoot. All right, my friend. Thank you very much again for your
Have a
time.
great weekend, sir, and all your friends and followers. Have a great weekend as well. God bless you all, and God bless the nation and the state of California.
And that's what I always say too, something along those lines. So enjoy your vacation there, my friend. And you want to support this show, the best way to do it is through venmo.com/do not talk. Venmo.com/do not talk. You can contribute there. You can monthly, whatever you want. I'm also on Cash App and I'm on PayPal and all that stuff. But Venmo seems to be the, and Zelle. I'm not on Zelle, but I am on Venmo.com/do not talk. And if you can help out in any way possible, you're going to be helping the show stay on the air. And I appreciate everybody who has given so far. Thank you very much. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. Most importantly, America bless God.